At the premiere of the new season of Moonshiners, an overflow crowd joins Mark and Digger. The air was thick with anticipation as the premiere of the new season of Moonshiners drew near. The lively chatter of the crowd mixed with the low hum of excitement, a chorus of voices weaving through the crisp evening air like the smoke from a freshly lit fire. The familiar faces of fans and enthusiasts gathered in the rustic, almost mythical town of Climax, Virginia, the heart of moonshining country. The setting couldn't have been more perfect. The Appalachian Mountains standing tall in the background, their misty peaks fading into the horizon, as though they were watching over the event. This was not just another TV premiere, it was an event that brought the history, culture, and spirit of moonshine into the spotlight, bringing with it an overflow of energy and emotion. Mark and Digger, the two stars of the show, were at the heart of it all. Their names were practically synonymous with moonshine, their faces recognized by anyone who had ever seen the series. Fans flocked from all over the country, eager for a glimpse of the two men who had become legends in their own right. Mark and Digger, once humble moonshiners working in secret and in the shadows, were now icons in the world of television and American culture. Their journey from the deep hollows of the Appalachian backwoods to the world stage had been as wild and unpredictable as the moonshine they produced. As the doors of the venue swung open, an overwhelming roar of applause echoed across the room. The anticipation was palpable. Fans had gathered in droves, spilling out onto the lawns and streets, hoping to get as close to their heroes as possible. The buzz was electric, as though the very atmosphere had been charged with the collective excitement of a crowd eager for a taste of the new season. Moonshiners was not just a reality show to these fans. It was a window into a hidden world, a world that had existed long before the cameras ever rolled, a world that spoke to the heart of rebellion, survival, and tradition. Mark and Digger, dressed casually yet stylishly in their signature flannel shirts and rugged jeans, emerged from the backstage area to thunderous applause. The crowd's reaction was immediate. Screams, cheers, and whistles filled the air as the two men raised their hands in acknowledgement. Mark's ever-present smile crept across his face, while Digger, more reserved but equally appreciative, gave a modest nod. It was clear that these two were not just stars. They were symbols of the grit, determination, and authenticity that made Moonshiners resonate with so many people. They had become more than just figures on a screen. They were a part of the fabric of Appalachian culture. The crowd's energy was infectious. Fans lined the aisles, eager to catch a glimpse of their heroes. Some had traveled hundreds of miles just for this opportunity, while others had made the journey just to witness the magic of the show firsthand. The lines between fans and stars seemed to blur as the evening unfolded. Conversations sparked up, with questions about the show, the process of making moonshine, and the challenges the two faced along the way. Mark and Digger were more than happy to oblige, regaling the crowd with stories from their adventures. "I remember the first time we tried to cook up a batch of shine," Mark said, chuckling. "We had no idea what we were doing, but we were determined. And let me tell you, it was a disaster." Digger laughed beside him, nodding in agreement. "Yeah, it wasn't pretty. But it's like anything else. You keep at it, you learn from your mistakes, and eventually you get it right." The crowd laughed along with them, drawn not just to the humor, but to the undeniable sense of camaraderie and humility that Mark and Digger exuded. These weren't the larger-than-life personalities often seen on reality TV. Instead, they were down-to-earth, approachable, and just as invested in the craft of moonshining as the people who looked up to them. As the night wore on, the venue became more crowded, with people spilling out into the open-air space outside, where food trucks, merchandise stalls, and moonshine-themed booths lined the streets. The celebration was about more than just the premiere. It was about the culture and the traditions that had been passed down through generations, many of which were reflected in the show. While modern-day moonshiners might have different tools at their disposal, the heart of the craft remained unchanged. A respect for the land, the old recipes, and the risks that came with producing illicit alcohol. A screening of the premiere episode of the new season was scheduled to take place at the heart of the event. The crowd settled down, and the lights dimmed. The familiar sound of the show's theme song began to fill the room, and an excited hush fell over the audience. It was time to dive into and Diva's latest adventures would take them, to see what challenges they would face, and to witness the next chapter in the ongoing saga of moonshining in the Appalachian Hills. The episode opened with a sweeping shot of the mountains, the lush green trees shimmering under the first rays of morning light. Mark and Digger were shown working in the woods, their familiar faces framed by the dense forest. The opening sequence brought the audience back to the roots of the show, reminding everyone why moonshiners had become a fan favorite. It wasn't just about making moonshine. It was about the stories, the history, and the characters who lived it. As the episode unfolded, the crowd was on the edge of their seats, reacting to every twist and turn in the story. There were moments of tension, humor, and even a few surprises that made the audience cheer. Mark and Digger's antics, as always, were equal parts hilarious and heartwarming. The episode was a reminder of the trials and triumphs of moonshining and the unbreakable bond between Mark, Digger, and their team. When the screening concluded, the crowd erupted into applause, the energy in the room once again reaching a fever pitch. The new season had not disappointed. It had delivered everything the fans hoped for and more. Mark and Digger took the stage once again, this time to a standing ovation. "This season's been a wild ride," Mark said, looking out at the crowd with gratitude. "But we couldn't do it without you guys. You've supported us from the beginning, and for that, we're thankful." Diva nodded in agreement, adding, "This isn't just our show. It's a show about all of us. It's about keeping the tradition alive, and we're glad to have you all along for the ride." The crowd cheered once again, and the evening continued with music, drinks, and even more conversations about moonshining and its place in modern culture. As the night wound down, Mark and Digger made their rounds, greeting fans and taking photos with anyone who asked. They were the stars of the night, but they never lost sight of the people who had helped them get there. They were, after all, just two men who had a passion for an ancient craft, and they were more than happy to share it with the world. For those who had attended the premiere, the experience was unforgettable. It was not just about the stars or the show. It was about a celebration of history, tradition, and community. The premiere of the new season of Moonshiners wasn't just a night of entertainment. It was a testament to the resilience of a culture and a craft that had survived for centuries, passed down from generation to generation. As the final echoes of the night's festivities faded into the cool mountain air, there was a collective sense of satisfaction. The new season had begun, and the world was once again invited to witness the adventure of Mark and Digger, two moonshiners who had proven that with hard work, determination, and a little bit of humor, anything was possible. The mountains stood tall, watching over them all, as the legacy of moonshine continued to flow like the smooth, powerful liquid itself. And for everyone who had been part of that unforgettable night, the premiere of the new season of Moonshiners would be a memory they would hold dear for years to come. Moonshiners, an overflow crowd joins Mark and Digger. At the premiere of the new season of Moonshiners, an overflow crowd joins Mark and Digger. The air in the crowded theater buzzed with anticipation. The shimmering light of the marquee reflected off the windows, announcing the arrival of something much anticipated. This was no ordinary evening at the local cinema, and no ordinary event. The premiere of the new season of Moonshiners had brought together an overflow crowd, all gathered for a night of high-octane adventure, southern charm, and of course, the unmistakable thrill of a reality TV show dedicated to the art of distilling moonshine. The stars of the show, Mark and Digger, were among the evening's main attractions, their presence drawing the crowd into a frenzy of excitement. The two distillers, whose personalities had become as beloved as their craft, walked into the venue with the same sense of swagger and humor that had made them household names in the moonshining world. As soon as Mark and Digger stepped onto the red carpet, the crowd roared in applause. Cameras flashed, and fans yelled their names, eager for an autograph, a selfie, or even just a handshake from the men who had turned an age-old craft into a nationwide phenomenon. The rise of Moonshiners, for those unfamiliar, had become more than just a show. It was a cultural event, an exploration into the often misunderstood and romanticized world of moonshine, and a testament to the ingenuity and resilience of the men and women who practiced the craft. The show delves deep into the rich history of distilling in the Appalachian Mountains, revealing the complexities